On Sunday, 5th September, a building in Kisenyi collapsed amidst an afternoon downpour, killing 6 and injuring 6. Construction is one of the fastest growing industries in Kampala due to housing and retail deficits. It is estimated that there are over 500 construction sites in the central business district alone. For every building, foundation is the most important section because it gives support to the building. A standards officer at the National Building Review Board explains what is required to put up a building that can be approved.
When you're constructing a building of 12 meters high, we're talking about a building which is at most 3 floors. Okay? Now, the recommended size of bars to use would range from 12 to even 16, because anything below, in terms of diameter, now anything below 12 diameter will be too small to be used in such a building. Now, and so we would recommend that if anybody is building anything with 3 floors and above, then you use high bars with bigger diameter in size to ensure that, because those such bars will be able to withstand the loads that will be going into that building.
As the floors increase, then also the materials, especially the reinforcement ones, such as cement and iron bars, increase.
Need to be given some bit of guidance. A developer needs to be given some bit of guidance in terms of what would be safe given the necessity and of course the constraints that the developer has. But ideally, what would be advisable is that in such situations where the restrictions, where you're going higher and higher, the restrictions will be tighter, and ideally a developer would perhaps be looking at using anything. For instance, you're going 6 floors above, which is about 6 floors, which would be about 18 meters or 20 meters in this case. The ideal would be to use any bar which is above 16 millimeters in diameter.
Some of the rubble from the collapsed building that has been tested has shown that cement mixture was not done right.
You find the structural engineer has said 1 to 2. And then the man on site says it is 1 bag of cement to 2 wheelbarrows. That is totally different. The unit of measure has to be the same.
Although some sites which were once swampy have turned into settlements, here is what you need to consider.
There are so many different types of foundations to use. You can use pile foundations. Those are foundations that you actually sink deep to ensure you get to firm ground. Or you can use raft foundations. These are foundations that are like slabs, right? That you construct over a wider area, very deep. And because it is wider and sinking very deep, it will not be easily moved. So that is the type, some of the type of engineering that is employed in such very extraneous sites or constrained sites like those.
Would anyone be correct to say that any building that has not collapsed during construction would stand the test of time?
If somebody went, perhaps was lucky to have a building completed, unchecked, but used the wrong materials, chances are that building can actually come down.
According to the Engineers Registration Board, every construction site is supposed to have a poster that indicates the contractor, engineer, and scope of works, among other things. This helps in tracing the engineers and developers flouting the set standards.
If we find our engineers culpable, we shall be able to punish them. But in the last few structures which have collapsed, when you look around for the people who are in charge of supervision of the structure, we find people who learn engineering from the streets of Kisenyi. And those ones, we cannot punish them because they are not engineers. So those ones are supposed to be taken over by the police. The police there has to act on them.
It is estimated that the building which collapsed on Sunday in Kisenyi, killing 6 people and injuring 6, cost the owner about 800 million shillings. It has also been widely reported that more often than not, some of the developers, after they have been given approvals, after submitting the right documentation to the relevant authorities like KCCA, sometimes deviate from the plan and opt for cheaper technical labor. Critics are saying that it is cheaper to follow the plan that has been approved than fixing the mess after lives have been lost on construction sites. Sudhir Ruhanga, NTV.